Welcome to Cooper Talk. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, and remember, I'm only as hip as my guests. I have to tell you something, people. I'm getting really tired of these car chases in LA. It seems like all the time we're getting car chases. There's been 3 this week, and what they do is, yesterday's one was 2.5 hours.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you Go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started.
And they put them on TV, so you can't watch anything else. And you sit there, and I just think, first of all, I think some of these car chases may be sponsored by new cars. Because this guy, earlier this week, drove 100 miles on a flat tire. And if I was going to buy a car, and I saw a guy being able to drive that far on a flat tire, that'd be a selling point. And I'm just saying we have to stop it because no other area shows these car chases. No other has car chases, but we have them like every 2 or 3 times a week, and it's a pain in the ass, especially when you want to watch Hoda and Kathy Lee do an ambush makeover. So anyway, we have a great show today. I got to tell you, years ago, if you had said, I remember seeing this gentleman, band he's involved with, years ago. I saw him at my college, Stockton State back then, and that was in 1985. And if you had said to me, oh yeah, in years from now you'll be talking to this gentleman, I would have said, you're crazy. But I am, thanks to the magic of Skype. And my guest is Eric Bazilian. How you doing, Eric?
Just great, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, man. So you don't see a lot of car chases in Philly, do you? That doesn't come on TV, does it?
Well, really, we get the really good ones, I don't know what kind of coverage the OJ one got in Philly. I was in Germany, and we watched that whole thing live in Germany.
It's amazing.
But yeah, it is. But I don't think we get that many. We don't get that many good car chases in Pennsylvania. And that's good. I mean, there's so much. They're on here so much, and it takes away from TV. So, anyway, we want to talk about you, my fine gentleman. Now, you started playing piano at 5. Is that true? Yeah, sort of. I started tinkling around a bit, and then I started taking lessons. I think I was 6, but I was a lousy student. I didn't have any. Well, I don't think I had the greatest teacher in the world, and I didn't have the patience to practice and play the Hanon and the little exercises. I wanted to play what I wanted to play.
And so, well, now your mother played piano, right?
She still does. My mother is. She's got some chops. She's really kind of stunning when she plays.
Now, is that why
No, I mean, I think I grew up appreciating music because I heard it all the time. She was always playing it, and I have a really early memory of sitting next to her on the bench and just seeing her rocking back and forth from side to side to Chopin, and thinking, I want to get that feeling. Except I got it in a slightly different way, different kind of rocking.
Yeah, so you sat there, you took a piano, but then when did you decide to start playing guitar?
My uncle, actually both my uncle and my aunt, not married couple, my mother's sister and my father's brother both played guitar, folk guitar. It was very popular back then. So my uncle taught me my first chords and my first couple of songs, and my aunt showed me a few things. And by the time I was 9 or 10, I was on a local TV show here. I played El Preso Numero 9 and sang it in Spanish.
What what show was it?
I mean,
was it Gene London?
It was Gene London. Yeah.
Oh my! I watched that as a kid.
Wow. Yeah, I guess he was still on. He's still around too.
Well, now, how did you get that booking? That just seems random. And why did you sing in Spanish?
Somehow, my uncle knew him, I think, somehow. And I sang in Spanish because I liked the song. And there was a cool guitar part. So I learned how to sing it in Spanish. I didn't know that was hard.
So you play on Gene London, and now at that point did you say, this is going to be my livelihood? Or, what made you start to follow that career path?
What made me follow that career path is what made probably everyone else my age who followed that career path follow that career path. February 9th, 1964, Ed Sullivan Show, The Beatles.
And so that just...
That was it. It was midway around, probably during Please Please Me. I think they did that in the first one. Like the third or fourth song. And I just had the vision. I said, that I want to do that. And I remember first looking at Paul and thinking, I want to be like him. Then I looked at John and I thought, no, I want to be like him. Then I looked at George. I thought, it'd be fun to be like him. And then I looked at Ringo and said, nobody's having more fun than him. And then I realized that I just wanted to be all four of them.
So you knew that. It got stuck in your head. And then, so where do you go from there? Do you start forming bands? You're already playing guitar. Did you really buckle down and try to learn the guitar? Did you start listening to a lot of music and trying to play it?
I buckled down. I put the pedal to the metal. I formed my first band that night. I was watching it with my friend Bernie Bornstein, and we said, let's start a group. So we brought our friend Paul Kaufman across the street in, and I had a leg up because I played some guitar, but I wanted to be like George, like Paul, because like Paul was, the shiny, charismatic one. So I wanted to play bass. So I actually went out and got myself an electric bass, and we assigned. Bernie wanted to play drums. He wanted to be like Ringo, and then Paul had to play guitar. But we realized pretty early on that it was a lot easier to teach somebody how to play one note at a time on the bass than to show them how to play a guitar part. So I quickly switched over to guitar.
And so you guys, did you start getting gigs then, or what did you start practicing? What were you just playing Beatles songs, or what kind of music were you playing?
We were playing, what was popular then, which was the Beatles. I remember we did House of the Rising Sun. We did some Dave Clark 5. We did, British Invasion stuff. And our first gig was our 6th grade graduation party.
So man,
at my house.
That was, that's pretty cool. 6th grade and you're rocking.
And I had skipped a grade, so I was 10. So I did my first gig with my first band at 10, and then of course I went away to camp that summer because that's what you did. And when we came back, we were on the Gene London Show again that fall as the Limestones.
Now, how'd you get the name the Limestones?
I knew that the first band that John and Paul were in together was called the Quarrymen, so it was just sort of a jump of reason, a jump of logic to go from Quarry to Limestone.
See, now, you guys, they really took control of you. You had the thinking, just following their footsteps to the bands and stuff like that. It was a big revelation for you when you saw that.
And it still is. I still watch those. I watch those shows. I actually have the DVDs of the entire show, all 4 Ed Sullivan shows that they were on. And it's so cool to see them in context of who the other acts were, like Frank Gorshin.
Okay.
The original cast of Oliver with Davy Jones, Tessie O'Shea, some Austrian comedic magician. This is who the Beatles performed with.
It's amazing, and it's so amazing because back then, and you don't see the variety show is so impactful, and so was like the talk shows, and it really could change people and change, careers and the people watching getting inspired.
It was a time.
So you're playing in a band, you're 10 years old, you skipped a grade, so I guess you're very book smart. So now you hit the high school years. What's your goal when you're going to high school? I know you went to Penn, right?
Yeah, that was college.
Right. I know but did you decide in high school you were going to go to an Ivy League school, or did you sit there and want to follow music?
I really wanted to follow music. College was something that was just sort of expected of me. It had never occurred to me that I wouldn't. Both my parents had gone to Penn. My grandfather had gone to Penn. It was the only school I applied to. I think I was sort of half hoping I wouldn't get in so I wouldn't have to go to college. And I don't know how I did get in. I guess it was a lot easier back then.
I don't know. It's still an Ivy. So you go to this Ivy League school now, and you major in physics?
Yeah, I did. My plan B was medical school, which I was actually kind of into. I loved science. Before the Beatles, I was going to be the first prepubescent in outer space.
Okay.
I was all over the astronauts and rockets, and then I got into electronics, and I actually got my ham radio license when I was 9, and started building my own gear.
So you were pretty advanced with that, but then you decided you go into physics. Now when do you start? Are you playing music when you're in college still, or do you have a band formed?
Well, actually my first real band was with Bernie. Again, Bernie from the Limestones, who was really my best friend one of my two best friends from the time I was 6. When we were 15, we found another Paul, who was an amazing singer and a great rhythm guitarist, and he wrote songs. And we found a great drummer, and we formed Evil Seed. And we started playing, wherever they'd have us. We played at the Be-Ins of Belmont Plateau. We played at coffee houses, and it was a great band. I got to say, it was really. It's a shame. It's a shame we didn't stay together. There were some personality issues that plus it was the '60s and people got into some pretty debilitating stuff.
So,
well, by now it was the '70s. Actually, we formed the band, I think, at the end of '69, '70. And but it was a great band. I mean, it really, in some ways, I look back very fondly on that time. And that band happened to break up right around the time I finished high school.
So then you go off to college, and you still want to pursue music. So how do you start another band up when you're in college?
Well, here's the deal. My first semester, aside from taking chemistry and biology and English and history, I took one class in the music department. It was electronic music. And Penn had and still has the third Moog synthesizer, which was, filled up the entire room. It was monophonic, one note at a time. And I walk in there the first day, and I see a guy who looks familiar. Got blonde hair down to his waist. And I realized that I had seen him in a band that a couple of times. He was in a band that had some local notoriety, a band called Wax, and his name was Rob Hyman. So we just sort of started talking, and his band had lost their guitar player. At that point, they had 2 drummers, 2 electric pianos, a bass player, and a singer, and I was a guitar player with no band, so I joined Wax.
And how?
That was the beginning of our association partnership.
So you start this band Wax, and then does Wax break up very quickly, or how long is Wax together?
Well, bear in mind, Wax had already been together for a couple of years. And in fact, they had gotten signed to a record deal, which didn't work out, and they had some personnel changes. And so I joined them at a transitional time. And once again, now Rob and Rick Chertoff, who was the drummer in the band, who went on to produce the early Hooters albums, and Cyndi Lauper and Joan Osborne. He's a legendary guy. They graduated at the end of my freshman year, so the band broke up, and I just went to college, and then I started another band my sophomore year, and had that all through college. And right around the time I was graduating, Rob and Rick and David, who was David Kagan, who was the singer in Wax, they had gotten a record deal with Arista. They didn't really have a band. It was just songs that David and Rob wrote. Rob was the piano player, and the band was called Baby Grand, and they brought me in to be the guitar player.
And now you did 2 albums with them?
We did 2 albums. We did a couple of tours. We were either way ahead of our time or way behind our time, but whatever, we were not for our time. And I think they call it failure to thrive.
Okay. So you guys, you disband, and then you start the Hooters.
Yeah, the Hooters was sort of our last band. We're going to give it one more try. And at that point, David, the singer, had left, and Rob and I looked at each other and said, look, he said to me, "Can you sing?" I said, "I don't know." "Can you sing?" He said, "I don't know." So we said, "Well, let's just see if we can."
No.
And we found that we had a really good blend singing together, which was cool because John and Paul, awesome.
Now, how did you come up with the sound? Because your sound was different. I mean, that's one thing. And because I remember listening to MMR and hearing you guys, and we all knew, I had the after we heard you guys, I had the little Casio keyboard that I would try to figure out, like the different things. And I honestly, when it comes to music, I am like tone deaf. I mean, my dad played sax, my sister played the French horn and the cello. My brother was a really good drummer. Me, I sucked, and I swear to God, I tried to play that damn beginning of your songs, and I couldn't. But how did you guys involve all these different instruments? Because it was a very fresh sound.
Well, here I'll go back to the beginning. When we decided to give it one more shot in 1980, we wanted an angle. We wanted something that would set us apart from all the other rock bands, and up until then we had been kind of progressive, I guess. We used very challenging chord changes. I played as if I was getting paid by the note. We were kind of in like the Steely Dan world, and we said, enough of that. And the British ska thing was starting to happen. And Rob had grown up on reggae. He started going to Jamaica when he was a kid with his family, and he turned me onto it. And then around that time, bands like Madness and the Specials and the English Beat were starting to come over here. We went and saw them, and our minds were blown. So we said, you know what, let's do that. Let's be a ska band. So, and we got really lucky because I had gotten to know David Wasikinen, and I got to know his band, which at that time was called Hot Property. They were breaking up, and they had a great bass player and a great guitar player. So I said, let's just take them. We've got a band, ready-made band. So that was the original Hooters. David, Rob, me, John Kuzma, and Bobby Woods. And pretty early on, playing the ska stuff, we thought it'd be really nice to have a sax solo, but we don't want to hire a sax player. So I thought, shit, how hard can it be? My friend Greg Scott loaned me an alto sax, showed me the notes, and 2 weeks later, we did our first demo recording, and we recorded a ska instrumental called Man in the Street, and I played a solo.
Wow.
And MMR started playing it in heavy rotation, and all of a sudden I'm a sax player, and it's been downhill ever since.
So now, what is that? The keyboard you play? What is it actually called? The band plays. What was that?
It's made by Hohner, and it's actually called a melodica, and the band is named for that. And the way that happened was when we were doing our very first demo recording, which was actually just me and David and Rob. I had borrowed a melodica from another band I was working with because Augustus Pablo, the great Augustus Pablo, reggae dub artist, used one, and we thought it would be cool to try it. So the engineer said, "Let me get a level on that Hooter." And we looked at each other and said, "Okay, it's a Hooter. From now on, it's a Hooter." And the way the band we went from calling the instrument a Hooter to calling the band the Hooters was we were looking for a name. We wanted a plural noun, like a la the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Wailers, so that everyone in the band could say, "I am a whatever."
Okay.
But not a household object like the tables, the chairs. It had to be something special. Hooters was pretty special, and bear in mind this predates the restaurants.
Right.
By 5 years, and it even predates the vernacular for Hooters as breasts.
Right. Okay.
So we could not foresee any of the doom that was to come.
Well, it's funny. You think about it when if you Google the Hooters, you're going to get the restaurant, and it's like, and you guys were before them, and that's what's crazy about the internet and how things change. I mean, the Hooters is supposedly named after an owl, but we know what it's named after.
Yeah, we know better.
We know, but so you get the band the Hooters, and then you're getting some heat from MMR. MMR is playing this song you were playing.
Yep, they started out playing Man in the Street, and then we did a single, and they started playing that. We started out playing 5 nights a week at bars in Levittown, wherever they'd have us. And then by 81, we started playing every Monday night at Grendel's Lair, which was on South Street in Philly. It later became a Tower Records. I think it's a Gap now.
Okay, I remember the Tower Records because I remember my roommate from college was from Hong Kong, and we were visiting our friend who lived on South Street. And Brian Ferry, the best of Brian Ferry and Roxy Music came out. And I was quicker than him, and I had longer arms, so I grabbed the last CD. But he got even because years later he stole my Pretty in Pink soundtrack CD. So yeah, it sucks. So you guys are playing now. Now when do you start writing? When do you get into the whole writing thing? And how did you guys share your writing responsibilities?
Well, that was that's really what started the whole thing. Was originally I was really just a guitarist and occasional backing vocalist and arrangement helper in Baby Grand. They sort of let me into the songwriting process, and then Rob and I developed a dynamic of our own. And then after Baby Grand broke up, we just started writing songs.
Now,
and actually, yeah.
No, go ahead.
And we tried a bunch of different stuff, different kinds of different styles. But then when we had the concept for the Hooters as sort of a ska and reggae thing, the oldest surviving Hooters song actually is All You Zombies. We wrote that in January of 1980, and that was the first song we wrote. We knew that we were going to be playing this song for a while.
Yeah. Now, what was the thinking behind when you wrote that song? I mean, was there a story behind that when you came up with the idea?
There is no thinking behind writing songs. Thinking is the enemy.
Okay.
We were playing some chords. We landed on those chord changes, and we started singing, all you people, show your faces, all you people in the street, all you sitting in high places, and we'll figure out the last line later. And then we thought people wasn't, maybe we could find a better word than people. And I think it was Rob that suggested the word zombies. And I knew that was the right word. Something in me resonated when he said, all you zombies. And it took a couple of years for me to remember where I knew that phrase from. It was a science fiction story by Robert Heinlein that I'd read in like 7th grade.
Wow, that's so cool. So you wrote that song. I mean, that was your first song you wrote, and you still play that, which is just amazing because it has legs. It's like, and that's funny is people remember that if you talk, oh yeah, the Hooter, oh yeah, all you zombies. It's just funny how people know different songs, but that's maybe because the name was different or just something. People really remember that song.
Well, it's and then it's got the Bible story lyric verses, which was just totally wacky, and that was something that popped into my head. I heard a voice singing the opening line, singing "Holy Moses met the Pharaoh" in that kind of Paul Robeson baritone, and we just said, "What the hell? Well, let's roll with it," and I think the song kind of wrote itself.
So now you guys are playing in Philly. You're writing the songs. Now, what did you feel started breaking you guys big? Was it MMR? Because I mean, as I told David too, I had your first Amore. I had that that album. I guess what I call it, but I think it was 5 songs. And
8 songs.
8 songs. I remember because I worked at a restaurant on the Jersey Turnpike, and me and this other guy loved your band. And I went, and back then, I think I went to I grew up in Cherry Hill. I went to the Cherry Hill Mall. There probably was a Sam Goody. There was a Peaches. But it was, I mean, there was one of them, and I know we used to me and my friend when we were little used to ride our bike to the one store and get albums. And if our parents had found out we drove our bikes around Ellisburg Circle, they would have hung us. But so that was that. When you got that album together, did you think it would really take off like it did? Because it sold a lot of copies in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, it sold 150,000. We knew it would. I mean, by the time we did that, we'd already released 3 or 4 singles. MMR was really, really behind us. We were selling out everywhere we played, and it was just there was just this wave of Hooterization going on, and we kept hoping that we'd get signed to a major label, and and have immediately become a national, international act. But that didn't happen. For whatever reason, I think partially because we were in Philadelphia, and it was really hard for a Philly band to get out of Philly back then. All the record companies were in New York, and they'd say, "Come play New York." So you'd go to New York, and you'd play to 30 people who've
Right.
never heard of you. You try to get them to come down here and see us play the Tower. See us, play them open for In Excess at the Man. Now they won't get on the train. So finally, in '83, we said, you know what, the hell with it. We're going to make our own record. And we got a little budget and made a deal with Studio 4, and it took about a month to make between gigs. We're gigging the whole time to put the record together.
Did you guys ever play Emerald City?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of times. In fact, the first or second time we played there, we got to open for the English Beat, and it was a live broadcast. And they started playing "All You Zombies" from that live broadcast, which is why it became our second single, that live recording of "All You Zombies."
Now, what was your first single?
It was "Fighting on the Same Side."
Okay, and then "All You Zombies," and then off that album, what were the two other singles you had?
Off of Amore. Well, now bear in mind, there were completely different versions of the songs, and then Amore were already re-records of the original versions. "Fighting on the Same Side," we had done that single in 81, I think, and then the "All You Zombies" single was live. Then when we did Amore, we re-recorded "All You Zombies." We re-recorded "Fighting on the Same Side" in a different key. And there were a couple of other songs that we had already recorded "Hanging on a Heartbeat." We had done a 4-track demo of that MMR played the crap out of, and then we recut that. And that was sort of the single from Amore.
So the Amore's selling is 150,000 copies, which is great. I mean, especially it was mostly sold locally, and it wasn't like now you couldn't get music online. You know what I mean? It's like that's what people don't understand. You had to go either, and even then, bands weren't really selling stuff at shows. I mean, that's something new. I mean, but so you're selling these. So then, how do you get the record deal then with Columbia?
Well, Rob and I have always had a side gig, which is making records with other people. So in '82, Rick Chertoff, the aforementioned now ex-drummer, good friend, and now A&R staff producer at Columbia, is doing a record with a young artist named Cyndi Lauper. So he brings us aboard as the band. We spent 6 months at our studio in Manayunk with my 4-track recorder, my little 808 drum machine, Rob's keyboard and my guitar and bass and saxophone, and we demoed up the entire She's So Unusual album. We went to New York, recorded it for real. It comes out, it's undeniable, and we are undeniably the sound of that record. So we've got too much musical credibility to be ignored at that point, and we're now selling out the Tower Theater on our own without a label. It was undeniable. At this point, the labels started coming around, and since Rick was our guy and he was at Columbia, that was the natural choice. So that's how we ended up on Columbia. And so
then now you're doing a 10-song album. Was it 10?
Yes, there were 10 songs on Nervous Night.
And so now you already have a lot of the stuff recorded. So what's the difference when you put it on this new album for Columbia? Was there did you have to make a different sound for each song, or what was different? Because there are a lot of the songs that people.
Well, we re-recorded everything. Once again, first of all, there was that thought of that concept that we couldn't have gotten it right the first time. It ain't broke, let's fix it. Which is kind of what happened. I think we re-recorded "Blood from a Stone" and we kind of ruined it. We re-recorded "Hanging on a Heartbeat" with a radically different arrangement, a really cool arrangement. It would have done much better if we had written a new song to that new arrangement. But we re-recorded "All You Zombies," and I know there are people who prefer the Amore version, but I will go down with the ship saying that the Nervous Night version of "All You Zombies" is the definitive version.
See, that's good to know because, it is true. Like when you listen to it, I remember listening to them, you get thrown off because I think it's like anything. When you're used to something, it sticks and you're sort of sometimes closed-minded. It's like, well, I don't want it. Like when they do remakes of movies, like I don't want to see that, but you did it and you had the sound. So then you release this album and it starts selling.
Well, yeah, it really did. And, it's funny that All You Zombies, the first song that we wrote for the band, and a song which in the beginning was a throwaway. I mean, when we were doing four sets a night, we would start our first set with that to get it out of the way because we thought, who's going to want to hear this song? And then all of a sudden, NMR starts playing the live version. It becomes our first single. It sells really well. Amore comes out. They play that version of it. We re-recorded for Nervous Night. Now, the Nervous Night version is 6 minutes long. We wanted to make an epic out of it, which was really spearheaded by Rick Chertoff. At that time, we were very much inspired by Pink Floyd, by The Wall, and that informed a lot of our choices, sonically, arrangement-wise, production-wise, for that recording. And but we also had And We Dance, which sort of introduced the signature sound of the mandolin and the melodica. And you were talking earlier about how we got all these different instruments, and mostly it's just me because I just love playing with new toys. So somebody had a mandolin, and I started playing that. Thought, cool, okay, that's part of our sound now. Along the way, Rob got an accordion, and since then I've been playing hurdy-gurdy on stuff and mandola, harmonica, recorder. I'm sure I'm forgetting half of the shit I've tried over the years.
How did you think about it though? It's like when you're recording something, how do people react when you say, "I'm going to bring a mandolin in"? Because most people, if you asked 100 people in the street, and I guarantee maybe 20, maybe 35 wouldn't know what a mandolin is.
Well, it's become more common now. I mean, I think we influenced a lot of people. REM started using it about a year later on Losing My Religion. John Mellencamp started using it, but we were the first to use mandolin in rock music. People thought it was odd.
But it adds to that song. That's what's great. I mean, that's one thing. None of them. They all sound like they belong. I mean, there's sometimes you hear some stuff and you go, "What the hell is that doing there?" But yours all sounded nicely blended.
Well, that was the craft of what we were doing. Rob and I had an instinct for it, and then Rick, as our producer and outside ear, he was our George Martin. He really helped us put things in perspective.
So the album starts selling, and now, and I know you're huge overseas. What is that like when it's a shift? You're so used to playing Philadelphia all the time, and I'm sure it's like anything. You live in the Philly area, so it's nice to be able to drive to a gig, come home. What's it like? When does your first tour, when do they sit this record company and say, okay, you guys got to go on a big tour now? Hello? Hello?
Sorry about that.
That's
Sorry,
right.
yeah. You were asking first tour?
Yeah. When did the record company say, okay, you guys got a tour now to support this album, and you were used to playing the Philly area?
So the album came out in May of '85, and in June we went on the road with Don Henley. It was just like a 3-week run, just kind of something to get our feet wet, and it was great. Tour bus, wow. Yeah, that works for me. We came off the road with Don Henley, and we played Live Aid.
Now, what's that like for a Philly kid to play? First of all, it's funny. I was just watching that CNN show about the '80s, and they showed the Live Aid, some of the Live Aid clips. And what's that like? I mean, you're sitting there playing, and JFK was it JFK or RFK? JFK. That was I saw legendary concerts there. What is that like as someone who loves music? What is it like to be sitting there on this international stage where you're having so much exposure and so many people are watching it? What is that like and the energy you're feeling when you get up there?
I don't remember. It was so quick. It was over before it started. We played 2 songs. We didn't get a sound check. We literally walked up, plugged in, and played. We did And We Danced and All You Zombies. And that was it. And we were done. It was like we didn't know what hit us.
That's just crazy. So now your popularity is getting, you're touring. Now, what do you think made you become so big overseas?
Well, it's funny, because Nervous Night didn't happen overseas, except for, oddly, Australia. All You Zombies went to #1 in Australia, and they flew us there for 4 days in December '85 to do 2 shows and get our platinum records on the Molly Meldrum show, which he was like the Dick Clark of Australia. But it didn't really happen in Europe. So it wasn't until the One Way Home, our second international album, we made a concerted effort to bring more of our ethnic, unusual sounds into it. So we had songs like Carla with a K, with the the accordion and mandolin, Johnny B with the recorder, the mandolin, the harpsichord. We really just loaded it up, and I think it was a little left of center for the U.S. market. They were expecting more of And We Danced, but for some reason, Germany and Scandinavia loved it, and Johnny B is like a song they sing at soccer matches over there still.
See, that must be cool. That's just the thing. I remember, it's funny because I saw you at my college in, I think it was '85, and it was at Stockton State, and Tommy Conwell opened for you guys.
Yep.
And I remember you guys were walking to your car in the parking lot because we were walking back, and I think we said, "Hey, what's up?" And you guys were driving Rabbits. And,
that's right. I had a Rabbit.
And you're putting your stuff in it. We were like, it was so cool. Like for us, it was like, oh my God. And we had a guy who went to our college who had, he told us later, like a few years later, he went to school in Australia for a semester, and he just said how huge you guys were.
Yeah, it's funny. It was such a spike. When we went down there, I thought, this is it. This is where our career is going to be. I'm going to move here. I'm going to raise my family here. And then nothing else happened. It's like we just fell off that half of the earth.
Now, as you're playing with the Hooters, are you also, because you've written for so many people, when did you really start doing a lot of the writing? Was it like later in your career? Because you wrote for Joan Osborne and all these people. How did that all come through just from the beginning when you guys wrote stuff for Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah, Bear, I didn't actually write anything on the first Cyndi record. We actually cut Fighting on the Same Side with her, which for whatever reason didn't make the record, which is a shame because I would have made a boatload of money on that. Rob ended up writing Time After Time with her, which was, the first time I ever heard a rough draft of a song where I knew it was going to be a classic. But Rob and I hadn't done a lot of writing for outside artists. We wrote a bit, with Patti Smythe for her solo album. And then it wasn't until really '93 that we met Joan Osborne, and Rick at that point had started his own label and signed her. She was his first signing, and we started writing songs together for her record.
Now, when you wrote, God, did you know it would be a huge hit? I mean, as a writer, do you think something will be a hit when you write it, and then sometimes it doesn't happen? And is there also some songs that you write that you don't think are going to do that well, but they do? Does that ever happen with you?
Well, I usually know when a song's special. I've written songs that I know are special that haven't been hits. One of us that was just an oddball. That was when I went home one night after a session, and my new girlfriend who just moved over from Sweden asked me to show her how I recorded on my 4-track, and I cut a little instrumental track, and she said, "Sing it," and I said, "Okay." Put the thing in the record, and that's what came out. And it never occurred to me that night that it was a song for Joan Osborne, but I knew that I had spoken some basic truth of the universe in that lyric. And the next day I played it for everybody. I just said, check out this wacky little song I wrote. And when it was over, Rick looked up and said, "Joan, do you think you could sing that?" And she said, "Yeah, I can sing the phone book, write out the lyrics." And she sang it, I played it, she sang it, we recorded it, I got in my car, I stuck the cassette in and heard it, and I knew. I started practicing the Grammy speech I should have gotten to give.
Okay. So, I mean, what is the feeling as the writer when you hear, I mean, that song was everywhere and it was on TV, and how does that process start? Do they have to come to you and say, you know, we want to use it for this TV show? I mean, does it go through the artist, or how's that work?
They'd go to the publisher or whoever's administering the rights, and then they come to us and we say yes or no, and they negotiate the particulars, and that's how it got onto. That's why Dr. Evil was able to sing it on The Spy Who Shagged Me.
So you said it was cool?
What's that?
You gave him the okay?
Yeah, he gave me the money and I gave him the okay.
And it was on a lot of stuff. So now you said you should have won the Grammy. What happened there?
I lost. I was nominated. Got time after time lost too. So I feel good. Rob and I are we're on the same footing there. No, I mean, nobody knew who I was. Everybody knew who Seal was. That song had been in the Batman soundtrack, and Kiss from a Rose won, fair and square.
Now, after you write that and the song is doing very well, do people start seeking you out to have you write for them?
Oh, they sure do. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm sliced bread. And I had people come from my past coming out of the woodwork. I had new people coming to me. One of the greatest things, career-wise and personally, that happens to me was that Desmond Child sought me out, and everyone knows who Desmond Child is. He's a legend. He wrote he wrote the phone book, and he sought me out. There was an artist he wanted to write with me for, an artist named Billy Myers, and we wrote her single "Kiss the Rain," which was huge. In that, when was that? 98, maybe 98, I think is when it came out. And through him, I got to know John Bon Jovi. Wrote a bunch of stuff with him. I had a song on his solo record. That's been a very long and fruitful career, and through that, I got involved with the Ricky Martin record, played all over it, and then Ricky ended up cutting "Private Emotion," which was a song from another Hooters album, a later Hooters album that no one ever heard of.
So how do you, I mean, as a songwriter, it says a lot about you that you can write for so many different genres. I
just write. It's changed a bit. I just got back from a songwriting workshop in France with 21 writers, most of whom were, half my age. And, now it's sort of divided into the track maker, guy that sits with a computer and pulls in beats and sounds and the four chord progression that makes up the whole song. And then what they now call top liners, which is somebody who comes up with melodies and lyrics. And that's the way they do it. It's not as much people sitting around with guitars and pianos saying, how about this, how about that? Jamming, getting into a groove and working it from there. But it was really amazing. I had an amazing time. I learned a lot. I wasn't always in my comfort zone, which was exactly what I wanted.
Do you want to change your writing style in some ways, or I mean, what do you mean by when you say not in your comfort zone?
Well, I'm used to sitting, with an instrument in my hands all the time and bouncing back and forth with other people. I mean, now it's really kind of like, I would come up with a guitar riff, and then if I wasn't the producer that day, the producer would record that and then chop it up and pull in his beats. And, all of a sudden, there's the track, and it sounds like pop radio, with all the programmed sounds, synthesized drums. I'm an organic kind of guy. My aesthetic is live drums, live bass, live guitars, pianos, Hammond organs. If it's synthesizers, it's analog synthesizers, non-auto-tuned vocals. So a recording where it isn't the same exact vocal on every chorus.
Okay.
But you know what? I really appreciate the artistry in what these guys do. There is great artistry in it. It's a different aesthetic, and I'm totally down with it. I'm not going to change what I do, but I certainly hope I get to continue to enjoy working with them. And we always would find common ground, and I wrote 7 songs last week. It was amazing.
So you've wrote 7 songs now. Now, did you guys record them over there? Who you're in this workshop, or did you just wait till you come back to record them?
No. That's the thing. You record as you write. By the time the song's written, it's done. The track is done. Everything's done.
Now, as a writer and a singer and a songwriter, you must really love. I mean, I know you have you said you sit down and play, but you must love the fact that seems so much easier now for people to create.
Well, they say it's leveled the playing field, it's democratized it. I could be, the curmudgeon side of me says it's enabled people who shouldn't be able to make records to make records. The thing is, any 12-year-old can make something that sounds like a hit record now. You buy a Mac, you have GarageBand, boom. The whole weeding out process, the evolutionary Darwinian gauntlet of starting a band, learning how to play an instrument, writing songs, getting out in front of people, getting an audience, in order to get someone to put you into a recording studio. That's gone. Everybody's got a studio. We had 8 studios running at this castle in France. I had one in my bedroom.
Wow. So as you were doing all the writing, and was you were still playing with the Hooters? Was it still fun to play with those guys when you were writing so much? I mean, what's that like when you're? I mean, did you miss the live performances when you're really concentrating on writing?
I found it was a great balance. It was great to be able to go back and forth, because I'd get tired of being in the studio, I'd get tired of being in the writing room, and then I'd go on the road. Then I'd get sick of being on the road, and I'd go home and start writing and making records.
Now, how'd you hook up with the Scorpions?
They came to me, and that was just sort of somebody knew somebody who knew somebody, and next thing I know, I'm in Germany working with them. I loved them. I had a great time with them.
Now, that's a different kind of music. It's the metal, but that must have been fun. Plus, were you a fan of theirs before you started working for them?
I was a bit of a fan. I mean, I was more a fan of them as a band than I was of their records. But as soon as I met them, I just hit it off with them. I loved Rudolph as a guitarist and as a creative mind and as a person, and Klaus is an amazing singer, an incredibly creative guy. Matthias is a killer guitar player, and as a guitar player, I mean, I'm first and foremost a guitar player. I do everything else just so I get to play guitar.
Okay.
Matthias is one of the few guitarists I've worked with where I was really happy to say, "You do it."
He's that good.
He's that good.
So now you were in France. Now you toured with. I always screw the guy's last name up. Joe
Bonamassa.
Now, how did that come about, and what was that like just to go on tour? Because it's funny. I've been seeing things on Facebook. He was coming here, he's coming there. How did that happen for you to just go on the road with him? Did he know your work? Were you friends with him, or what happened there?
His producer is a guy named Kevin Shirley, who I'd worked with years ago. I co-produced a record for Amanda Marshall with him, and we just sort of stayed friends, stayed in touch. He tried to get me to tour with Joe 4 years ago. Joe was going to do an acoustic tour and a DVD, and he wanted me to do it. I wasn't able to do it then, but this year they were going to do it again, and he wanted a different band, and asked me. And the last one they did was like a year. This was just 3 weeks. I'm like, yep, I'm in. Cool.
So now you have to go learn all the songs then.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Now is that tough because it's something it's not what you wrote and you can play all these different instruments, but is it tough when you have to learn someone else's song and what's the process? How long does it take?
It took me longer than it took the others because I'm not used to it. But I did okay. Fortunately, I was sort of like the spice guy. I played I had 2 mandolins, a mandola, dobro, a banjo, recorder, and alto sax on stage with me. So I was really just kind of adding spice to what everyone else was doing. Fortunately, Joe and the piano player were sort of holding the fort down, and so I could just kind of I could cruise a little bit.
Well, you played with him, then you also played some charitable shows over in Europe, right?
Yeah, I did the Light of Day tour in December. That was a blast.
Now, what is that? What that Light of the Day is for? What is it bringing awareness to?
It's for Parkinson's disease, Parkinson's research.
Okay, so you do that now. How do you get involved with that band? Does someone come? Because I think Vinny Mad Dog Lopez was in that band.
Yeah, Vinny was on that. Vinny just came to our show in Atlantic City.
So
yeah, Vinny and I became really good friends as a result of that. Well, there's a guy named Joe Durso who actually started Light of Day and runs it, and he opened for the Hooters 20 years ago in Sweden. In fact, he was at the first show that my wife ever came to.
Okay.
The girlfriend that I wrote One of Us for is now my wife of 21 years. But Joe just, called me, emailed me, said, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?"
So who was all in that band?
It wasn't a band. It was like a Nashville Bluebird in the round kind of thing. Each person would do a song, and then you go around the circle. So that was Joe, Vinny, me. Oh God, killing me his name. Springsteen's other sax player. It'll come to me. Give me a second. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
And then Jake Clemens joined us.
Okay.
So I thought we were going to have two sax players, which I thought would be a little weird, but I didn't know that Jake's main gig is he's a singer-songwriter.
So now, when you guys were going around, would you play some Hooter songs? What would you play when it was your turn?
I did. Yeah, I would do, depending on where we were. Like in Germany, I would play Johnny B, because that was our biggest hit in Germany. I would do One of Us. Probably do All You Zombies. I have a very different version of All You Zombies. I play myself. I'm more rocked out version of it. In England, I played Satellite, which was the Hooters' biggest hit there, and I played Old Before I Die, which was Robbie Williams' first single that I wrote with Robbie and Desmond Child.
So it's everyone got a little different taste of everything.
Yep.
So now, what was it like in AC the other night? I saw David had posted the first three songs, and you guys sounded really tight. I mean, but you've been playing together for years. What was that like? Is it like a homecoming when you play AC? I mean, what's it feel like, playing for the Philly people?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's totally home. It's like, these are our people. This is who we owe our lives to. We wouldn't exist if it weren't for these people.
It was quite an impressive set list. I always go, after I see concerts, I always go to I go to that, I Google, let's say for you, the Hooters AC set list, and there's that site that's called Setlist that you can always find out what everyone played. So you guys played a long show, and you played 2 encores. Yep.
2 3-song encores. And that was a short show for us. Well, in Germany, we'll do 2.5 hours.
Okay, so does that get you guys? That's a long time. You're not young guys anymore. I mean, does it get tiresome on stage, or is it just the adrenaline keeps you going?
When we're on stage, we are young guys.
And now the Europe tour, when does it start?
We get on the plane next Tuesday, the 7th.
And then would you land?
What show is it?
Where's your first show at? Hello? I think I lost him. I think we lost Eric. Let's see. I think we lost him. I think we lost Eric. We're trying to get through because we're running out of time, but I think we lost him because he was driving, I know, or he was somewhere where there wasn't a good connection. But it's okay because I'm not getting through. Let's see if he calls me back. It's all right. It's not working. Let's see. He must have just cut out. We're going to start talking. Well, people, here's what you do. I'll do my stuff right now. Just because if he calls back, we can finish off with them. Follow me on Twitter. It's at Cooper Talk. That's at Cooper Talk. Also, go to my website, coopertalk.net. That's coopertalk.net. Or you can email me at coopertalk.net. Go to iTunes. It's Cooper Talk, one word, as a Stitcher, one word. Also, my cookbook, stopthesalt.com. That's stopthesalt.com. Go to the website. It's 120 recipes. Easy to make. No pictures to intimidate you. If you don't have cumin, don't worry. You don't need cumin. You sit there, you go get it, and you buy the book. It's stopthesalt.com. Go sit there, go buy it. You can get it at Barnes & Noble online. You can get it on Amazon.com online. But if you get it from me, I make more money, and I will send it to you. Also, don't forget we have Instagram. It's Cooper Talk 1. I do a lot of stuff there. And also we have... what's my other one? Oh, Words with Friends. Play me. We're going to try Eric one more time because we have like 5 minutes left. If not, it's all right. We had a good talk. I'm sure I'll get in touch with him. I think we just lost him here. I have his picture up there. Let's see if we can get him on here. And he got cut off. And that's okay because it's all good because it's Cooper Talk. That's the sound we're making for Skyping. And Eric?
Steve.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, sorry. I had to drive through a no internet zone.
No problem. We only have 5 minutes left. I already did my plugs already to do it. But
okay.
So you start off.
Thing is, can we do it in about 15 minutes? I got to pick my daughter up right now.
Okay. Well, you know what? No, that's that's good. This is good for us. It's a good show. I got my hour.
Okay.
We're all good. But I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to talk about the fact that we still do make records, Hooters records from time to time. But you can talk about that.
I'll talk about it. I'll just sit there because you guys are. But how can people get in touch with you?
Facebook, info@hootersmusic.com.
And you tweet?
Yeah, I tweet. The Hooters tweet. I tweet more than the Hooters do. But hootersmusic.com.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad I got to catch up with you finally because I've been a fan for a long time. And we talked. And you sent me that nice shirt at Christmas, which I do wear, and I appreciate that.
Cool.
And
awesome.
So keep up the good work. I always check you guys out. I like to listen to you. And everyone, listen to the Hooters. Follow Eric Bazilian on Twitter, and be safe driving your daughter home. And it was good talking to you, Eric.
Okay, likewise, Steve.
All right, take it easy.